a sign that bad things were coming. Okay, so we have a segment here at Comics and Comics where we, meaning me, like to give an opinion about something. And if you've ever read any fanboy post on any message board anywhere, you understand why we call this segment But Let's Face It. When I was a boy, I used to have huge fights with my sister over the TV after school. I wanted to watch Star Blazers and Force 5, and she wanted to watch General Hospital. It seems so stupid to me that this was even up for debate, since my shows were so obviously better. It confused me that girls could have such universally bad taste. I mean, my sister was far from being alone. It seemed to my boyhood self that all girls were immune from appreciating cool stuff. That the XX chromosome pairing, ironically, made it impossible to appreciate the X-Men. When you came at a girl with cool stuff, all you got back was disdainfully being called a geek. And it therefore made me sad when I learned that I was going to be the father of a girl and not a boy. Surely this child would give me a bemused look of lack of understanding as I tried to explain all that I loved. But let's face it, I was completely wrong. No one can limit how involved a parent you choose to be. And it is the right of an involved parent to indoctrinate the child into coolness. And what geeks like is cool. And she gets that. And I know it's coming. You're going to say, I'm brainwashing her. And to that I will say, steering your daughter clear of Barbies and Justin Bieber is a good thing. That's avoiding the brainwashing. Learning to appreciate the Incredibles from the womb is simply responsible parenting. Now, geek parenthood does come with difficulties. Children are far more wise than we sometimes like to admit. And when you instill taste in a kid, they're going to come back at you with some tough questions. And explaining and giving answers is more difficult than you can possibly imagine. These are some of the toughest talks that a parent can ever have. It's like, this Thursday I'm 9 and a very special geek dad. The first time my daughter put me through this, it wasn't even a question. We were watching streaming Netflix, as Paul was just talking about, and all she said to me was, "Hey, you know what, Daddy? They should make a live-action movie of Avatar: The Last Airbender." There was no easy way to explain it to her. I tried to be creative, and I got all these dolls and puppets, and I said, "Now you see this big evil puppet here? This represents M. Night Shyamalan's ego." And she came back at me with a joke. This is what she said. "The Avatar screenplay was being developed in peace and harmony. Then everything changed when M. Night Shyamalan's ego attacked." So parents, heed my warning. The questions are relentless. It's like, "Daddy, who is Sifo-Dyas and why did his story never pay off?" "Daddy, why did the Iron Giant only make 26 million domestic?" "Daddy, will Neil Gaiman ever finish his story arc for Miracle Man?" "Daddy, what was Grant Morrison smoking when he wrote Final Crisis 7? "Daddy, with the writer being the guy who wrote The Dark Knight Returns and the director being the guy who directed The Empire Strikes Back, how did RoboCop 2 suck so bad?" "Daddy, what's Pon farr?" You take these questions seriously and you answer them as best you can, knowing that you are preparing your child to win arguments on the internet. And it's at that point that you realize they're not going to be your little geek forever. Kids need geek parents. Without them, children will get steered down very bad and very wrong paths of nerddom. There's a trend going on right now of young kids getting worse at video games. Modern young gamers are failing miserably at doing well at retro games. And to that, I will simply say, not on my watch. None of this Mario Galaxy 2 nonsense. You're playing Defender until your knuckles bleed. In my day, we had to walk uphill to save the princess from Donkey Kong. I think I've done a good job, but I've made some mistakes. My daughter believes that monsters are cooler than robots. She's wrong, of course, but I don't beat myself up as a daddy. Geek parenting is its own reward. Being a geek simply means being involved with something to an extreme level, and let's face it, there's nothing better to geek out about than your own kid.